Hermes' Adventures Under the Sea. Hermes was the most forgetful hermit crab under the sea. One time Hermes was so forgetful that he forgot where he put his glasses, and it turned out that they were on his head the whole time. Hermes was playing hide and seek with his friends, but Hermes was not very good at hide and seek, so he began to get upset as he couldn't find his friends anywhere. "Hermes, Hermes," cried Sally the sea crab from underneath a seashell. "Look what I have found, a beautiful shell all pearly and white." Hermes loved anything shiny, so he ran over as fast as his little crab legs would take him. Hermes loved the look of the seashell, and it made him think about his own shell. Hermes suddenly began to cry. Sally put her claw around him and comforted him and said, "Hermes, what's the matter?" Hermes began to tell Sally why he was crying. Sadly, Hermes had lost his shell a few days ago because, as you know, Hermes was very forgetful. He misplaced almost anything and everything. He began by saying, "I'm sad, Sally. I want a new home. My shell was gone and I bet I will never find it. The ocean is huge. It could be anywhere." Luckily, Sally had a plan for her best friend, Hermes. Sally knew an estate agent. Hermes said to Sally, "What's an estate agent?" She replied by explaining, "An estate agent is someone who sells people's homes which they no longer want to a different person which needs or wants a new house." Hermes was most excited by this thought and asked Sally if they could go and meet the estate agent immediately. So off Hermes and Sally went on their mission to find Albert, the real estate agent. On their journey, Hermes and Sally had to go through a reef which was full of the most colourful fish under the sea, and they were drinking tea. Next, they had to go under Sebastian the shark's archway. They had to be very careful that they didn't wake him, as Sebastian doesn't like visitors unless they're good listeners. And finally, over a group of stingrays, which were lying on the bed of the ocean, bathing in fishy lotion. Eventually, Hermes and Sally reached Albert after their eventful journey. Albert was sitting on his glistening green chair, reading a book about how to be a better cook. Hermes said, "Excuse me, Mr. Eel." Albert jumped out of his chair in a kerfuffle and looked rather shocked to have visitors uninvited. Hermes went on to explain that, "I have lost my shell, sir, and now I have no home, and it is making me most upset." "Do you think you can please help me?" Albert replied almost immediately and said, "Of course I can help you. That's exactly what I am here for. After all, I'm an estate agent." Therefore, off they all went again, Albert, Hermes and Sally, all on another adventure to find Hermes a new home. Albert had in his mind 3 different shells which he thought Hermes would love. The first shell, which Albert showed them, was too spiky. Hermes didn't like it because it had too many pointy and scratchy bits, which Hermes said wasn't like his old house. But Albert said, "Don't worry, I am an estate agent. Let's look at another one." The next shell Albert took Hermes and Sally to was back over the stingrays laying on the bed of the ocean, bathing in fishy lotion, back under Sebastian the shark's archway where he was sleeping, and through the reef full of fish under the sea, drinking their tea. Then in the distance, Hermes could see something glistening. He scurried over as fast as he could, but when Hermes got closer, he realised that the shell already had his friend Hercules in it. Hermes was sad as he thought he had found his home. Sally said, "Don't worry, Hermes, we will find you a home, I promise. We won't stop until we find one." Sally was Hermes' bestest friend and was always there by his side. Hermes was so grateful for his friends, so they kept on searching. Suddenly, Albert shouted at the top of his voice, "Hermes, Hermes, look!" Hermes saw a little white, slightly scratched shell just beyond Sierra, the sea anemone. He began to cry, but this time Hermes was crying with joy. He had found his old shell. Hermes had never ever felt happier. He had his home back. Hermes was very thankful to Sally and Albert, so he bought them both a box of chocolate seashells to say thank you. They all sat with Hermes in his new, old house and enjoyed their chocolates together. The end. Thank you for listening to my story and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.